The stars shone brightly over the distant planet of Viridia. It was a beautiful world full of green forests, tall mountains, and clear blue rivers. The sky was different from Earth's. It was a soft purple with two suns shining in the daytime. Viridia was home to many strange and wonderful creatures, but none were more special than the Viridians, an intelligent species with many different shapes and colors. In the middle of this peaceful world, a small spaceship landed softly on a grassy field. The ship's hatch opened with a hiss. Out stepped Jake, a human man who had traveled far across the galaxy. He was tall, with brown hair and warm eyes. He wore simple clothes and carried only a small backpack. Jake had come to Viridia not as a conqueror, but as a traveler searching for friendship and new experiences. As Jake walked through the field, he looked around with wonder. He had heard stories of Viridia before. It was said to be a world of beauty and mystery, but also a place where strangers were watched carefully. Jake knew he would have to be careful, but his heart was full of hope. Soon Jake met the first Viridians. They were tall and slender, with smooth skin that shimmered like the leaves in the sun. Their eyes were large and kind, and their voices sounded soft like the wind. One of them, a young woman named Lyra, stepped forward to greet him. "Welcome to Viridia, traveler," Lyra said with a gentle smile. "We do not often see humans here." Jake bowed slightly. "Thank you, Lyra. I am Jake. I come in peace." The other Viridians watched quietly. They had never met a human before, but they felt something different about Jake. There was no fear in his eyes, only kindness. Lyra invited Jake to her village, where he met more Viridian women. Each was unique. There was Kira, who had hair like golden light and a laugh that warmed the air. There was Sela, quiet and wise, with deep blue eyes like the ocean. And there was Mira, who was strong and brave, with a spirit that could not be broken. The women were curious about Jake. They asked him many questions about Earth, his life, and how humans lived. Jake answered with patience, sharing stories of his world. He spoke about tall cities, wide oceans, and the stars above Earth's skies. The Viridian women listened with wonder. Days passed, and Jake began to feel at home among the Viridians. The women showed him the ways of their world. They taught him how to gather the sweet fruit from the trees and how to read the signs of the wind. Jake shared stories of human songs and games, and sometimes he laughed with the women under the moonlight. As they spent time together, a quiet feeling grew between Jake and the women. It was not just friendship. It was something deeper, a bond of trust and care. The Viridian women admired Jake's gentle spirit and courage. He did not try to change them or their ways. Instead, he respected their culture and listened with an open heart. One evening, under the two shining suns setting in the purple sky, Lyra took Jake's hand. "Jake," she said softly, "your heart is different from others we have known. You bring hope to Viridia." Jake smiled. "I only want to understand and be a friend." Kira stepped closer too. "We feel safe with you. You do not rush or fear. You are strong in kindness." Sela nodded quietly. "You are welcome here, Jake. We want to know more of you, and we want you to know us." Mira's eyes sparkled. "Together we can learn much from each other." Jake felt warmth in his chest. He had never imagined that strangers from a far world would accept him so fully. But with these women, he found a place where he belonged. As the days turned into weeks, Jake and the Viridian women grew closer. They shared meals, stories, and dreams. Each woman had her own way of caring for Jake, and he cared deeply for each of them. There was no jealousy or fear, only a quiet harmony. Viridia was a place where many kinds of love were known. The women understood that Jake was special. They did not hide their feelings or hopes. They wanted to build a future together, a family of their own. One quiet night, as Jake sat by the river watching the stars, Lyra came to sit beside him. "Jake, we want to be more than friends. We want to share our lives with you." Jake looked into her shining eyes. "I want that too." The other women soon joined them by the river. They each held Jake's hands, and in that moment a new bond was formed. It was a promise of respect, trust, and love. Jake knew that this was only the beginning. There were many challenges ahead, from the outside world and from different beliefs on Viridia. But for now, he was not alone. He had found a family. The stars above Viridia shone brighter that night, as if the universe itself smiled on this new and unusual family. The days on Viridia grew warmer as the twin suns moved slowly across the purple sky. Jake had settled into his new life among the Viridian women: Lyra, Kira, Sela, and Mira. Their bond was strong, built on trust and care. The small village welcomed Jake as one of their own, though some villagers still looked on with quiet curiosity. Jake paid them no mind. He was focused on the women he cared for and the home they were building together. Every morning, Jake and the women worked side by side. They gathered fresh fruits, fished from the clear rivers, and learned from each other. Jake taught them some games from Earth, and the women showed him how to make beautiful clothing from the fibers of Viridian plants. It was a time of happiness and simple joys. One afternoon, while sitting under a giant crystal tree that shimmered with soft light, Lyra spoke quietly. "Jake, have you ever thought about the future? About what comes next for us?" Jake looked at her thoughtfully. "I want to build a life here with you all. A family that lasts." Lyra smiled softly. "We want that too." As the days passed, Jake noticed the women growing closer not just to him but to each other. They laughed together, shared stories from their past, and supported one another. Dole was a rare sight in Viridian culture, where people often kept their feelings private. But with Jake, everything felt open and warm. One morning, Sela came to Jake with a soft glow in her eyes. "Jake, I must tell you something." Jake gave her his full attention. "What is it, Sela?" She took a deep breath. "I am expecting a child." Jake blinked in surprise. He had never imagined this would happen so soon. "Expecting? But how? Is that safe?" Sela smiled gently. "With you, it is safe. Our bond is strong. The child will be a mix of human and Viridian, something new." The news spread quickly among the women. Kira and Mira soon revealed that they, too, were expecting. The village buzzed with whispers and wonder. This was unheard of, for a human and Viridian women to share children. It was both exciting and frightening. Jake felt a deep sense of responsibility. He cared for the women and their future children with all his heart. He knew that this family would be different from anything Viridia had seen. At night, Jake would sit by the glowing river and talk with the women. They shared their hopes and fears. "What will others say?" Kira asked one evening, her voice soft. "Will they accept us?" Jake held her hand firmly. "We will face whatever comes together. We will protect each other." The women smiled, feeling his strength and promise. However, not everyone in the village was happy. Some elders whispered among themselves, worried about the strange family Jake was forming. They feared change and questioned the human's place on Viridia. One elder, a stern woman named Vela, approached Jake. "Human, you disrupt our traditions. This family you build is against our ways." Jake met her eyes calmly. "I respect your culture, Vela, but love and family can grow in new ways. We only want peace." Vela shook her head. "Many will not agree. You must be careful." Jake nodded. He knew there would be challenges, but he was ready to face them for the women and children he loved. As the pregnancies advanced, the women grew radiant with new life. They showed strength and courage that surprised even Jake. Together, they prepared for the arrival of their children. One day, while walking through a flower field, Mira looked at Jake with tears in her eyes. "I am scared. What if our children are different? What if they are not accepted?" Jake wrapped his arms around her. "They will be strong, because they have you and me. We will teach them to be proud of who they are." The women found comfort in Jake's words. His belief gave them hope. In the evenings, Jake would tell the women stories of Earth's stars, of the children he imagined with them. The women dreamed of a future where their family was a bridge between worlds. Slowly, the village began to change. Some villagers who once watched from a distance now came to meet Jake and the women. They saw the care and respect in the family and felt curious rather than afraid. One young Viridian girl approached Kira. "I want to learn from you, to understand this new way." Kira smiled warmly. "Then we will teach you together." The bond between Jake and the Viridian women became stronger each day. They supported each other through every joy and worry, but in the quiet moments, Jake wondered what the future held. He knew the universe was large and full of dangers. His family's story was only just beginning. The twin suns set again, painting the sky in gold and pink. Jake looked at the women beside him and felt a deep peace. Together, they had built something beautiful, a family born from hope, trust, and love. The days on Viridia continued to pass with gentle warmth and quiet hope. Jake's family was growing, not just in number but in strength. Lyra, Kira, Selah, and Mira carried their children proudly, their faces glowing with the promise of new life. But as the family grew closer, the world around them began to show signs of change. The village was no longer the peaceful place Jake had first found. Whispers floated on the wind. Some villagers watched with suspicion. A human and Viridian, women having children. "It is not natural," they said quietly. The elders spoke in secret meetings, worried about the future of their traditions. Jake felt the weight of these concerns. He was determined to protect the women and the children. They would soon bring into the world, but he also knew that winning over the entire village would be a difficult task. One morning, Jake sat with Lyra by the river, watching the sunlight dance on the water's surface. "We cannot hide forever," Lyra said softly. "They will judge us. We must face them." Jake nodded. "You're right. We need to show them that our family is strong and full of love." Together they planned a gathering, inviting all villagers to come and meet the new family. It was a bold move, but Jake hoped honesty and openness would break down walls. When the day came, the village square was filled with curious faces. Jake stood beside the women, feeling their support and courage. Lyra spoke first. "We are one family," she said clearly. "Our children will carry the future of Viridia and Earth together. We ask for your understanding and respect." Some villagers nodded slowly, but others looked away. Vela, the stern elder, stepped forward. "This union challenges our ways," she said firmly. "Many fear what change brings. How can we trust this family?" Jake stepped forward, his voice steady. "I understand your fears, but love and respect do not break traditions. They build new ones. We want peace, not conflict." A long silence followed. Then a young man, a blacksmith's son named Torin, spoke up. "I see how you care for each other," Torin said. "Maybe we can learn from you." This small voice of support was a start. Slowly, others joined in, asking questions and sharing stories. The gathering ended with a promise to watch over Jake's family and the coming children. It was not perfect peace, but it was hope. Meanwhile, Jake took extra care of the women. He helped with their chores, prepared meals rich in Viridian herbs, and listened to their needs. The pregnancies were not easy, but each woman faced the changes. with strength and grace. One afternoon, Sela sat quietly in the garden. Jake joined her, noticing a shadow of worry in her eyes. "What troubles you, Sela?" he asked gently. "I fear for our children," she said. "What if they are different? What if they do not belong anywhere?" Jake took her hand. "They belong with us. We will teach them to be proud of who they are. Different is not wrong. It is special." His words gave her comfort. She smiled and leaned her head on his shoulder. But danger was not far away. Far. Beyond Viridia, in the dark reaches of space, a powerful alien faction called the Zalari had been watching. The Zalari ruled many star systems with fear and strength. When they learned of Jake, a human, and his unusual family, they saw a threat to their control. The Zalari believed in strict order and feared change. A family that united two species, creating children of both, was dangerous to their rule. They decided to act. One night, under the shadow of the twin moons, Zalari ships appeared in Viridia's skies. The village was thrown into chaos. Jake woke to alarms and the cries of the villagers. He ran outside, seeing strange ships landing near the fields. The Zalari soldiers began to surround the village. Lyra grabbed Jake's hand. "They want to break us. We must protect our family." Jake nodded. "We fight together, the Viridian." Women stood strong beside Jake. Though they were not warriors, their love gave them courage. Jake used his knowledge from Earth, simple tactics and quick thinking, to help the villagers prepare. The battle was fierce. The Zalari fired strange weapons that lit up the night sky. But Jake and the villagers fought with heart and unity. The women helped the injured, carried supplies, and gave strength to the fighters. At one point, Jake faced an enemy soldier who aimed a weapon at him. Using a swift move he had learned in his Earth training, Jake disarmed the attacker. The village cheered. After hours of fighting, the Zalari realized they could not break the spirit of the family and the village. They retreated, their ships disappearing into the stars. The village was safe, for now. The battle had changed everything. The villagers who had doubted Jake and his family now saw their strength. The women's bravery inspired respect and admiration. Jake looked at the faces of the women he loved. They were tired, but proud. "We survived," Jake said softly. Lyra smiled. "Together, we are strong." In the days after the battle, the village began to heal. The story of Jake and his family spread across Viridia and nearby worlds. They became a symbol of hope and unity. Jake knew that challenges would come again, but he was ready. With love, respect, and courage, his family would face whatever the future held. As the twin suns rose, Jake stood with the women by his side. Their children were growing inside them, a new life full of promise. Together, they looked forward to a future where two worlds could come together as one. After the attack by the Zalari, the village of Viridia had grown quieter, but the air still held tension. Jake and the women, Lyra, Kira, Sela, and Mira, had survived a battle that none thought possible. Their courage had won respect, but the danger was far from over. The women's pregnancies were advancing steadily. Each of them carried the future, children who were part human, part Viridian. This new life was a symbol of hope, but it also made them targets. Word of the family's strength and uniqueness had spread beyond Viridia. In the far reaches of space, the Zalari had returned to their warships. Their leaders, dark and cruel, did not forget the defeat. They sent scouts to find the family again. They wanted to destroy the bond that threatened their control over the region. One morning, as Jake and the women gathered fruit near the crystal trees, a sudden shadow crossed the sky. Jake looked up and saw sleek ships descending fast toward the village. The peaceful day turned to chaos. Lyra shouted, "Zalari, they have come back!" The villagers rushed to warn others. Jake took charge quickly. "We must protect the women and children." Get everyone to the caves. The caves nearby were deep and hidden, a safe place the villagers used in emergencies. Jake and the women led the way, helping elders and children. Move quickly! The sound of ships landing grew louder. Inside the caves, the family waited, hearts pounding. Jake held Lyra's hand tightly. We have to stay strong, together. Kira looked around, her voice steady. We need a plan. The Zalari want to destroy us? Jake nodded. We will not let them win. We must fight smart. While the villagers hid, Jake and a small group of fighters prepared traps and defenses near the village entrance. The Zalari soldiers marched toward the caves, confident they would crush the family once and for all. But Jake's plan was clever. He used the thick vines and slippery rocks to slow the enemy. When the soldiers advanced, they found themselves caught in traps. Some slipped, others were tangled. The defenders struck back with tools and weapons made from Viridian materials. The battle was fierce but different this time. Jake and the villagers fought as one, using their knowledge of the land to their advantage. Meanwhile, inside the caves, the women focused on their health and the children growing inside them. Sela gently sang old Viridian songs, hoping to calm the fears of the little ones. Mira held Jake's hand, her eyes strong despite the danger outside. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the cave entrance. The Zalari were trying to break in. Jake ran to the front lines, shouting commands. Hold the line! Don't let them through! With every breath, Jake felt the weight of responsibility. The safety of his family, his children, rested on his shoulders. Outside, Kira fought bravely, wielding a spear with skill. She knocked down 2 soldiers who tried to flank Jake's position. Lyra used her quick thinking to lead villagers in distracting attacks. Hours passed like this, with neither side giving up. Then a strange sound filled the air, a low hum of engines. From the sky, a fleet of Viridian ships arrived, led by Captain Rylan, a fierce ally who had heard of Jake's fight. The Viridian fleet attacked the Zalari ships, forcing them to retreat. The sky was filled with bright flashes of light and thunderous booms. The battle was turning. Jake's heart soared. Help had come just in time. As the Zalari fled, the villagers cheered. The family had survived once more, but Jake knew this was only the beginning. Later that night, around a fire deep in the caves, Jake spoke to the women. We are safe for now, he said, but we must be ready. Our children will change the future, for better or worse. Lyra smiled softly. They will be the bridge between worlds, Kira added, and we will protect them no matter what. Sela nodded. Love has given us strength. Mira looked at Jake, her eyes full of hope. Together we can face anything. Jake felt tears in his eyes. He had found more than family on Viridia. He had found a purpose. Outside, the stars shone, brightly as if watching over this brave new family, a symbol of hope in a galaxy filled with danger. The stars sparkled over Viridia as the twin suns disappeared behind the mountains. The village was quiet now, but deep inside the caves, a new life was ready to begin. Jake sat with Lyra, Kira, Sela, and Mira, each woman glowing with the strength of motherhood. Their time had come. The children, half human and half Viridian, were about to enter the world. Jake's heart pounded with a mix of fear and hope. He looked at the women he loved. They had faced many dangers and challenges, but now their greatest moment was here. We are ready, Lyra said softly, reaching for Jake's hand. The village had gathered outside the cave entrance, waiting with quiet excitement and respect. The elders who once doubted now watched with hope. The family Jake had built was becoming a symbol of peace. One by one, the women began to give birth. It was a moment filled with pain and joy, tears and laughter. Jake stayed close, offering strength and comfort. He helped with the simple tasks, fetching water, keeping the fire warm, and whispering words of encouragement. When Lyra's child finally cried out, The sound was clear and strong. The baby had bright eyes that sparkled like stars. The villagers cheered softly, welcoming the new life. Kira's child followed with golden hair and a gentle smile. Sella's baby had deep blue eyes that seemed to hold the ocean's calm. Mira's child was strong and brave, already reaching out to hold Jake's finger. Jake felt his heart swell with pride. These children were more than just babies. They were a new hope. A future where humans and Viridians could live together in harmony. The days that followed were full of learning and love. Jake and the women cared for the children, teaching them both human and Viridian ways. The babies grew quickly, curious and bright. The village changed too. People who once feared the unknown now welcomed it. Children from other families played with Jake's children, sharing games and stories. The walls of distrust were breaking down. One day, Captain Rylan returned with a message from nearby star systems. The news spread quickly. Other worlds were inspired by Jake's family and the peace they had brought to Viridia. Leaders from different planets began to send envoys, hoping to learn how to build similar bonds. Jake was invited to speak at a great council of planets, a place where decisions were made for the galaxy. Though nervous, Jake accepted. He knew this was a chance to show the universe the power of love and unity. At the council, Jake spoke clearly and simply. He told the story of Viridia, of the women who had trusted him, and of the children who were the future. "We are all different," Jake said, "but that difference is our strength. When we come together, we can build a better world." The council members listened carefully. Some were surprised, others inspired. Slowly, a new hope began to grow, one where species would not fear each other, but learn and grow together. Back on Viridia, Jake's family flourished. The children grew strong and wise, learning the best of both worlds. The women continued to teach and guide, their love a steady light. Jake often stood under the twin suns, watching his family and the village. He felt a deep peace. The journey had been long and difficult, but the future was bright. One evening, as the stars rose again, Lyra came to Jake's side. "We did it," she said softly. Jake smiled. "Yes, together we changed two worlds." The galaxy was wide and full of challenges. But Jake knew one thing for sure. Love could cross any star, break any barrier, and build a future stronger than any fear. And so, this human, with his alien family, became a legend. A symbol that in the vastness of space, kindness and courage could unite worlds.